Have you ever felt like your relationships could use something more, but you just can't put your finger on it? Let's explore how Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, can unlock a deeper connection and transform how you connect with others. It's a familiar feeling, isn't it? You're doing your best, communicating, showing up, being present, but something feels just slightly out of sync. It's not that things are bad, but you know they could be better. The bond could feel deeper, the connection more meaningful. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And here's the thing. What if the key to unlocking that deeper connection wasn't about what you're doing for others, but about how you approach the relationship from within yourself? This is where Stoicism comes in. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't Stoicism that cold, emotionless philosophy? The one where you're supposed to just endure life without showing any feelings? That's a common misconception. Stoicism is actually one of the most empowering and practical philosophies ever created. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about understanding them, managing them, and using them to strengthen your character and your relationships. At its core, Stoicism teaches us how to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. Imagine the impact this mindset could have on your relationships. When you stop trying to control your partner or predict every possible outcome and instead focus on becoming the best version of yourself, something incredible happens. You create space for trust, understanding, and true connection. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 timeless Stoic secrets that can transform the way you approach relationships. These aren't abstract ideas or philosophical riddles. They're actionable principles you can start using today to build deeper, more meaningful bonds with the people in your life, whether it's your partner, your family, or even your friends. But before we get into it, I'd like to ask you for a small favor. If you find value in what you're about to learn, I'd truly appreciate it if you gave this video a like. It really helps in spreading these ideas to more people who might need them. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our future explorations into Stoicism and how it can enrich your life. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you paused to really think about how you approach your relationships? Not just what you give to others, but what kind of mindset you bring into them. Too often, we get caught up in habits and routines without realizing how much they shape the quality of our connections. Stoicism offers a way to break free from those patterns, to bring intentionality and purpose into every interaction. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through 5 powerful Stoic principles that can unlock the kind of connection you've been searching for. These secrets aren't about grand gestures or fixing anyone else. They're about refining how you show up in your relationships. They're about building trust, creating space for honesty, and embracing gratitude. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these principles, you'll have a clear sense of how to apply them in your own life. Whether it's handling conflict with grace, listening with genuine intent, or letting go of the things you can't control, these ideas will give you tools to nurture stronger, more fulfilling relationships. So, are you ready to explore how ancient wisdom can solve some of our most modern challenges? Let's take this journey together, because deep down, we all crave connection. And sometimes it just takes a fresh perspective to unlock what's been waiting there all along. All right, let's begin. The first secret is emotional mastery, and it's a game changer for any relationship. Let's be honest, how often do we let emotions take the wheel? You're in the middle of a conversation, and suddenly it turns heated. Words spill out before you can stop them. And then there's that instant regret. The tension rises, walls go up, and the connection you were trying to build feels like it's slipping away. We've all been there. Maybe it was an argument with your partner, a heated moment with a friend, or even a misunderstanding at work. In the heat of the moment, emotions can feel overwhelming. Anger, frustration, or even hurt. It all comes rushing out. And while it's normal to feel these things, The way we react to them can either strengthen or weaken our relationships. Now here's where Stoicism offers a completely fresh perspective. Instead of letting emotions control us, Stoics teach us to understand and manage them. It's not about ignoring what you feel, far from it. It's about taking a step back, observing those emotions, and choosing how to respond. One of the most powerful Stoic teachings comes from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about that for a moment. You can't control how someone else speaks to you, but you can control how you react. You can't stop every challenge or frustration from coming your way, but you can decide whether to meet it with anger or with calm. Let's break this down into something practical. Imagine this. Your partner makes a passing comment that hits a nerve. Maybe it's about something you've been insecure about, or maybe it's just been a long day and you're on edge. Your instinct might be to snap back or shut down. But what if, instead, you paused? Just for a second, take a deep breath. That's right, a simple deep breath. This small act creates space between the trigger and your response. It's in that space that you reclaim your power. Instead of reacting impulsively, you get to decide how to move forward. Stoics call this practicing mindfulness and self-restraint. Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you take a moment to breathe, you shift from reacting emotionally to responding intentionally. Let me share a story to illustrate this. There was a couple I knew. Let's call them Anna and Mark. Anna was always quick to react when something upset her, especially during disagreements. Mark, on the other hand, had been practicing Stoic techniques to manage his emotions. One evening, during a small argument about something trivial, Anna raised her voice, frustrated. Mark could have easily matched her tone, escalating the situation. Instead, he paused, took a deep breath, and calmly said, "I hear you're upset. Can we talk about this without yelling?" That one moment of composure shifted the entire dynamic. Instead of spiraling into a full-blown fight, they ended up having an honest conversation that brought them closer. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you never feel upset. It means you learn how to channel those emotions constructively. So how do you start building emotional mastery in your own life? Here are a few steps you can try. First, practice the art of the pause. When you feel a strong emotion rising, whether it's anger, frustration, or even sadness, take a moment to breathe. Count to 5 if you need to. This small action creates room for clarity. Next, start journaling. This is a practice the Stoics swore by. At the end of each day, write down moments where your emotions got the better of you. Reflect on how you could have handled them differently. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, and with awareness comes growth. Another technique is to ask yourself, is this within my control? When something frustrates you, take a moment to step back and evaluate. If it's something you can change, focus on solutions. If it's out of your control, let it go. As Epictetus reminds us, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. You'll be amazed at how these small shifts can transform your relationships. Emotional mastery builds trust. It shows your partner, your friends, or even your co-workers that you're someone who can handle challenges with grace. And when others feel that sense of calm and stability in you, it naturally deepens the connection. It's worth noting that emotional mastery isn't something you perfect overnight. It's a practice, a lifelong journey. There will be moments when you slip, and that's okay. The key is to keep coming back to the principles. Pause, reflect, and choose your response. One of my favorite reminders comes from Seneca, who said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, in this context, isn't just about living without external constraints. It's about freeing yourself from the grip of impulsive reactions. So, the next time you find yourself on the verge of snapping back, remember this. You have power over your mind. You have the ability to pause, breathe, and respond with intention. Emotional mastery isn't just a tool for avoiding conflict. It's a foundation for building relationships that are rooted in trust, understanding, and respect. And here's the beauty of it. As you practice mastering your emotions, you'll inspire those around you to do the same. Emotional composure is contagious. It creates a ripple effect that can transform not just your relationships, but the energy in every interaction you have. Think about this. How would your relationships change if you mastered the art of responding instead of reacting? What would it feel like to approach every interaction with calm and clarity, even in the face of challenges? Take a moment to reflect on that, because the possibilities are endless. The second secret is one of the most underrated skills in relationships: active listening. But what does it truly mean? You might be thinking, of course I listen. I hear what people are saying all the time. But let me ask you this. Are you really listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? It's so easy to fall into the habit of hearing someone's words while our mind is racing ahead, thinking about what to say next, planning a response, or even getting defensive. And when that happens, true connection gets lost. Imagine this scenario. A couple is sitting at the dinner table after a long day. One partner begins sharing their frustrations about work. "I feel like my boss doesn't value me," they say. The other partner, well-meaning but distracted, responds with, "Oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you about my day." The first person immediately feels unheard, dismissed, and maybe even a little hurt. We've all been on both sides of this situation at some point, and the truth is, failing to truly listen is one of the biggest barriers to building meaningful connections. Now, let's bring Stoicism into the picture. The Stoics placed immense value on mindfulness, being fully present in the moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Give yourself fully to the task at hand." That might sound like advice for work or daily responsibilities, but it applies just as much, if not more, to relationships. When someone is speaking to you, they're sharing a part of themselves, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or a concern. To truly connect, you have to give them your undivided attention. Active listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding the message behind them. It's about tuning in, not just to what's being said, but to how it's being said. The tone, the emotion, the pauses, all of it matters. One of the most practical ways to practice active listening is to pause before responding. Let's go back to that dinner table scenario. Imagine if the listening partner had taken a moment, just a second or two, to process what their partner said. That simple pause allows you to fully absorb the other person's words before forming a response. It shows you're not just reacting, you're reflecting. Another powerful tool is paraphrasing. When someone shares something with you, try summarizing it back to them in your own words. For example, if your friend says, "I feel like I'm always the one reaching out in this friendship," you might respond with, "It sounds like you're feeling unappreciated and maybe even a little taken for granted." This not only shows you're paying attention, but it also gives the other person a chance to clarify or expand on their feelings. And don't underestimate the power of a simple question. Asking something like, "Can you tell me more about that?" or "How did that make you feel?" invites the other person to open up further. It shows genuine curiosity and care. The Stoic perspective on active listening goes beyond technique. At its heart, it's about cultivating humility. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This isn't just a clever observation. It's a reminder that listening is an act of service. When you truly listen to someone, you're setting aside your own ego, your own need to be heard, and instead prioritizing the other person's experience. And here's the magic of it. Active listening builds trust. When people feel heard, truly heard, they feel valued. It creates a sense of safety where they know they can share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment or dismissal. I once had a friend tell me about a time when they were going through a rough patch in their life. They shared their struggles with someone close to them, only to be met with half-hearted nods and a quick change of subject. I felt invisible, they told me. On the other hand, when they shared those same feelings with someone who listened deeply, asking questions, offering empathy, and simply being present, they described it as a moment of healing. Active listening isn't just about solving problems. Sometimes people don't need solutions, they just need to be heard. Think about the last time you vented to someone. Did you need advice, or did you just want to feel understood? To bring this home, let me share a simple exercise you can try in your next conversation. It's called the 3-second rule. When the other person finishes speaking, count silently to 3 before you respond. In those 3 seconds, focus entirely on what they just said. It might feel awkward at first, but it creates a noticeable shift in how you engage with others. Another practice is journaling. After a conversation, reflect on how well you listened. Were you present, or was your mind drifting? Did you interrupt, or did you let the other person finish their thoughts? Self-awareness is key to becoming a better listener. When you embrace active listening, you'll start to notice a change, not just in how others respond to you, but in how you feel about your relationships. There's a deeper sense of connection, an understanding that goes beyond words. It's worth remembering that listening isn't always easy. It takes patience, humility, and practice, but the rewards are profound. As the Stoics remind us, relationships thrive not because we speak perfectly, but because we listen deeply. So the next time someone speaks to you, challenge yourself to really tune in. Listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Pay attention to the little details, the shifts in tone, the pauses, the emotions. Be present, because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the simple act of listening. The third secret is a big one: letting go of control. It's a shift in mindset that can completely transform your relationships. Think about it for a moment. How often do we find ourselves trying to steer situations or people in the direction we think they should go? Whether it's a partner, a friend, or even a family member, there's this subtle urge to control, to make sure things go the right way, as if we're the director of everyone's lives. It usually comes from a good place, doesn't it? We think we're helping, protecting, or guiding the people we care about. But here's the hard truth. Controlling behavior often does more harm than good. I once knew a couple. Let's call them Sarah and Jake. Sarah loved Jake deeply, but she had this habit of micromanaging almost every aspect of their life together. She'd choose what they ate, how they spent their weekends, and even what Jake should wear to certain events. At first, Jake went along with it to keep the peace, but over time, he began to feel stifled, like his voice didn't matter. It wasn't long before the frustration bubbled to the surface, leading to arguments and resentment. Sarah wasn't trying to hurt Jake. She thought she was doing what was best for them both, but her need for control created a wedge between them. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful insight. The Stoics teach us that the only things we truly control are our own thoughts, actions, and choices. Everything else, what other people do, how they react, external circumstances, is beyond our control. Epictetus put it perfectly. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Let that sink in for a moment. If you focus on what's within your power, your own behavior, your own mindset, you free yourself from the frustration and anxiety that comes with trying to control the uncontrollable. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you shift your energy from trying to change others to improving yourself. Imagine the weight that lifts when you stop carrying the responsibility for everything and everyone around you. So how do you let go of control in your relationships? It starts with self-awareness. The next time you find yourself trying to fix or manage someone else's behavior, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and let it go. One practical way to shift your focus is to practice acceptance. When someone does something you wouldn't have chosen or says something you don't agree with, instead of reacting, remind yourself that their choices are theirs to make. For example, if your partner leaves dishes in the sink, again, you could let it ruin your evening, or you could accept it as something outside your control and choose how to respond. Maybe that means calmly asking for their help, or deciding it's not worth the stress and doing it yourself. Another helpful exercise is journaling. Each evening, reflect on moments when you tried to control something outside your power. Write about how it made you feel and how you could have approached it differently. Over time, this practice will help you build the habit of letting go. The Stoics also remind us to embrace the idea of shared humanity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing, but also by trying to control another." In other words, our need for control often blinds us to the individuality and autonomy of others. Letting go isn't just about finding peace for yourself. It's about respecting the freedom of those around you. Let me tell you what happened with Sarah and Jake. After one particularly heated argument, Sarah decided to step back and reevaluate. She started practicing mindfulness and journaling, reflecting on why she felt the need to control. She realized it stemmed from her own fear of things going wrong, fear of uncertainty. As she worked on herself, she began to release those fears and trust Jake more. And you know what? Their relationship improved dramatically. Jake felt respected, and Sarah found a sense of peace she hadn't experienced before. This is the beauty of letting go. When you stop trying to control others, you create space for trust, growth, and genuine connection. It's also worth remembering that letting go of control doesn't mean you have no influence. Your actions and choices can inspire others. When you focus on improving yourself, the people around you often notice and respond. It's a ripple effect. For example, imagine you're constantly nagging a friend to prioritize their health. They resist, feeling pressured. But if you quietly lead by example, taking care of yourself, making healthy choices, they might feel inspired to follow suit. Influence, when done without control, is far more powerful. Letting go also means embracing uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and so are people. But that's not something to fear. It's something to accept. As the Stoics remind us, fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant. When you let go of trying to control outcomes, you open yourself to the flow of life, trusting that things will unfold as they're meant to. Think about a time in your own life when trying to control a situation backfired. Maybe it was a disagreement where your insistence on being right pushed someone away. Or a moment when your need for everything to go perfectly created unnecessary stress. How might things have been different if you had let go? Here's a simple practice you can start today. When you feel the urge to control, pause and take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, repeat silently to yourself, "This is not mine to control." It's a small but powerful mantra that can help shift your mindset. Letting go of control isn't easy. It requires trust. Trust in yourself, trust in others, and trust in the process of life. But the freedom it brings is worth the effort. You'll find your relationships becoming lighter, more authentic, and more harmonious. As you move forward, keep this Stoic wisdom close. Let things come and go as they please. Your job is to remain steady and focus on your own path. By focusing on what's within your power, you'll discover that the real strength lies in surrender. And here's the most beautiful part. When you let go of control, you don't lose connection, you deepen it. Because the strongest relationships are built not on force, but on freedom. Take a moment to reflect on this and consider how letting go could transform your relationships. Gratitude and appreciation are the 4th secret to building a deeper bond. and they have a transformative power that often goes unnoticed. In the rush of daily life, it's so easy to take the people we care about for granted. But let me ask you, when was the last time you truly paused to appreciate your partner, a friend, or even yourself? Not for the big things, but for the small, everyday gestures that make life meaningful. I once heard a story about a couple, Emma and David. They had been together for years, and while they loved each other deeply, their relationship had fallen into a routine. Over time, they began focusing more on what was missing than on what they already had. Emma would think, "Why doesn't he surprise me anymore?" While David would wonder, "Why doesn't she notice the little things I do?" One evening, after an argument over something trivial, Emma decided to take a step back. Instead of dwelling on what she felt David wasn't doing, she began listing everything she appreciated about him. She thought about how he always made her coffee in the morning, how he'd fix things around the house without being asked, and how he made her laugh even on tough days. The next day, Emma told David how much those things meant to her. And something incredible happened. David started doing more of the things that made Emma feel loved. Her gratitude sparked a change in their dynamic. Instead of focusing on what was lacking, they began appreciating each other more openly, and their bond grew stronger. This simple act of expressing gratitude can shift the entire energy of a relationship. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the blessings you do possess." In other words, instead of longing for what's missing, take a moment to reflect on the abundance already in your life. Gratitude, according to the Stoics, is not just an emotion, it's a discipline. It's a deliberate choice to focus on what's good, even when life feels challenging. And in relationships, this practice can be life-changing. Let's break this down into something practical. One of the simplest ways to cultivate gratitude is to start a daily gratitude journal. Each evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for about your partner, a friend, or even yourself. These don't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest things carry the most meaning. Maybe it's how they remembered your favorite snack, how they encouraged you on a tough day, or even just the way they smiled at you. The act of writing these down helps you train your mind to focus on the positive. And over time, you'll start noticing more and more reasons to be thankful. Another powerful habit is to express gratitude out loud. Don't wait for special occasions to tell someone you appreciate them. If your partner washes the dishes, say, "Thank you for taking care of that. I really appreciate it." If your friend checks in on you, let them know it means a lot. These small acknowledgements might seem insignificant, but they have a profound impact. The Stoics remind us that life is fleeting. Seneca wrote, "Life's greatest tragedy is not that it ends so soon, but that we wait so long to begin it." Gratitude helps us live more fully in the present. When you practice gratitude, you stop rushing through life and start savoring the moments that matter. Imagine waking up each day with a mindset of gratitude. Instead of thinking about the stress ahead, you take a moment to appreciate the warmth of your bed, the sunlight streaming through the window, or the simple fact that you've been given another day. In relationships, this mindset creates a ripple effect. When you consistently express gratitude, the people around you feel valued and seen. And when people feel appreciated, they naturally want to reciprocate. It's a cycle of positivity that strengthens bonds. But gratitude isn't always easy, is it? Sometimes in the middle of challenges, it's hard to see what there is to be thankful for. That's when the Stoics teach us to dig deeper. Even in difficulty, there is something to be grateful for, a lesson, a moment of growth, or simply the opportunity to endure and come out stronger. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This perspective is especially powerful in relationships. Instead of focusing on what your partner might lack, celebrate their unique qualities and strengths. Let me share another story. A friend of mine, Lisa, was going through a rough patch in her marriage. She felt disconnected from her husband, Tom, and began dwelling on his flaws. One day, after reading about gratitude practices, she decided to write Tom a letter. In it, she listed everything she appreciated about him: his kindness, his sense of humor, his unwavering support. When she gave it to him, Tom was deeply moved. He told her it was the most meaningful thing anyone had ever done for him. That letter became a turning point in their relationship, reminding them both of the love they shared. Gratitude doesn't require grand gestures. It's the small, consistent acts of appreciation that make the biggest difference. Try this. The next time you're with someone you care about, take a moment to look at them, not just glance, but really see them. Think about what they bring into your life. Then tell them. You might say something as simple as, "I'm so grateful for how patient you are with me," or "I really appreciate how you always know how to make me laugh." Watch their face light up when they hear it. Gratitude also has a way of grounding us in the present. When we focus on what we're thankful for, we stop chasing after the next thing and start appreciating what we already have. It's a practice that not only strengthens relationships, but also brings peace to our own hearts. Take a moment now to reflect. Who in your life could use a little more appreciation? What small gesture or quality of theirs have you overlooked lately? Gratitude is a choice, a lens through which we see the world. And when we choose it, we unlock a deeper connection with the people around us. So, as you go about your day, look for opportunities to say thank you. Start a journal, write a letter, or simply take a moment to reflect on the blessings in your life. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Because at the heart of every meaningful relationship is the simple act of appreciation. The fifth secret to building a deeper bond is shared purpose and values. This is where true connection begins to transcend the surface and become something much richer, something rooted in the very foundation of who you are and what you stand for. Let's take a moment to reflect. How often do we think about whether our values align with those of the people we care about most? Picture this. Sarah and Ben had been married for a few years, and while they loved each other, they often found themselves drifting apart. Sarah was deeply passionate about volunteering and giving back to her community, while Ben spent most of his time focused on advancing his career. Neither of these priorities was inherently wrong, but they rarely talked about their shared goals or long-term vision as a couple. Over time, this gap in their values created a quiet distance between them. One evening, after a particularly frustrating argument about their weekend plans, Sarah suggested something new. She asked Ben if they could sit down and talk, not about chores or schedules, but about what really mattered to each of them. What were their dreams, their aspirations? What kind of life did they want to build together? That conversation was transformative. They discovered that deep down, they both wanted the same thing: to live a life filled with meaning and purpose. For Sarah, that meant continuing her volunteer work. For Ben, it meant finding ways to use his professional success to make a positive impact. Together, they decided to carve out time to support each other's goals, while also creating joint projects they could work on as a team. This is what shared purpose and values are all about. It's not about being identical, it's about finding common ground in what truly matters and building from there. The Stoics understood the importance of aligning one's actions with virtue and purpose. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In relationships, this means living according to the principles and values you hold dear, while also seeking to understand and respect those of your partner. When two people share a sense of purpose, it creates a bond that is resilient and enduring. It becomes a guiding light that helps you navigate the inevitable challenges of life together. But how do you discover shared purpose and values with someone else? It begins with self-awareness. Before you can align with another person, you need to understand your own core values. What drives you? What principles guide your decisions? Take some time to reflect on these questions, perhaps through journaling or quiet contemplation. Once you've gained clarity about your own values, start having open, honest conversations with your partner. These conversations don't have to be formal or structured. They can happen during a walk, over dinner, or even in the quiet moments before bed. Ask each other questions like, number 1, what do we want our life to look like in 5, 10, or 20 years? Number 2, what values do we want to pass on to our children or share with our community? Number 3, how can we support each other's individual goals while also creating shared ones? These discussions aren't about forcing alignment. They're about discovering it organically. And sometimes you might find that your values aren't perfectly aligned. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's understanding. One practical exercise you can try is joint goal setting. Sit down together and create a list of things you'd like to achieve as a team. These can be big, like saving for a home or starting a business, or small, like volunteering together once a month or committing to regular date nights. The key is to focus on goals that reflect your shared values. Another idea is to create a relationship mission statement. This might sound formal, but it can actually be a fun and meaningful way to articulate what you stand for as a couple. For example, your mission statement might be something like, we strive to live with kindness, curiosity, and generosity, supporting each other's dreams and making a positive impact on those around us. The process of creating this statement can be just as impactful as the statement itself. It gives you both an opportunity to reflect, collaborate, and dream together. The Stoics believed that living with purpose wasn't just about big, grand gestures. It was about the small, daily choices that align with your values. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. In the context of relationships, this means committing to those small, consistent actions that strengthen your bond. For example, if one of your shared values is kindness, make a habit of practicing small acts of kindness toward each other, leaving a thoughtful note, offering a word of encouragement, or simply being present when the other person needs to talk. If your shared purpose includes giving back to your community, find ways to volunteer together or support causes that matter to you both. It's these small, purposeful actions that create a sense of alignment and connection over time. When you live according to shared purpose and values, something beautiful happens. Your relationship becomes more than just two individuals coexisting. It becomes a partnership rooted in mutual respect, trust, and understanding. Let's go back to Sarah and Ben. After they began prioritizing their shared purpose, they noticed a shift in their relationship. The small, everyday frustrations didn't feel as significant anymore because they were anchored by something bigger. They had a vision they were working toward together, and that made all the difference. Of course, this doesn't mean that every day will be perfect. There will still be disagreements and challenges. But when your relationship is guided by shared purpose, those challenges become opportunities for growth rather than roadblocks. Think about your own relationships. Are there moments where you feel disconnected or out of sync? Could those moments be opportunities to explore your shared purpose and values more deeply? Take a moment to reflect on the people who matter most to you. What values do you already share? What dreams could you work toward together? As Marcus Aurelius so wisely said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In relationships, this means embodying the values you hold dear, while also creating space for your partner to do the same. The journey towards shared purpose and values isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It's about showing up every day with a commitment to growth, understanding, and love. So start the conversation. Ask the questions. Reflect on what truly matters, because when you and your partner align your lives with shared purpose and values, you'll discover a bond that is not only deep, but unshakable. So, there you have it. 5 Stoic secrets to unlock a deeper bond in your relationships. Each of these principles offers a powerful way to not just connect, but to truly thrive alongside the people who matter most to you. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. First, we explored emotional mastery, the cornerstone of healthy relationships. When you take control of your reactions and respond with calm and clarity, you create an environment where trust and understanding can grow. Remember, emotions are natural, but how you manage them is what defines your connections. Next, we uncovered the power of active listening. It's not just about hearing the words, it's about truly being present, understanding the emotions behind them, and showing the people in your life that they matter. Listening deeply isn't just a skill, it's a gift you give to others. Then, we tackled the transformative concept of letting go of control. Relationships aren't about trying to mold others to fit your expectations. Instead, focus on what you can control, your own actions, your own mindset, and watch as trust and freedom strengthen your bond. Our 4th secret, gratitude and appreciation, reminded us of the importance of recognizing the beauty in what we already have. Expressing gratitude, even for the smallest things, creates a ripple effect of positivity and connection in your relationships. Finally, we delved into shared purpose and values. Aligning your goals and principles with those of your loved ones creates a partnership that is not only resilient, but deeply fulfilling. When you work together toward a shared vision, your bond becomes unshakable. These 5 secrets, emotional mastery, active listening, letting go of control, gratitude, and shared purpose, are timeless principles that can transform any relationship, whether it's with your partner, family, friends, or even yourself. Now here's the exciting part. These ideas aren't just theoretical, they're actionable. They're practices you can begin today, right now, in your own life. Imagine what your relationships could look like if you embraced even one of these secrets. How would your connections deepen? How would the way you approach love, trust, and understanding change? I want to encourage you to take that first step. Pick one of these Stoic secrets and commit to trying it out. Maybe it's pausing to reflect before reacting, or making a habit of expressing gratitude every day. Start small and see how it feels. Before we wrap up, I'd like to ask for your help in spreading these ideas. If you found value in this video, please take a moment to like it. It really helps more people discover this content. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future insights on how Stoicism can enrich your life. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. Which Stoic secret will you apply first? Is it emotional mastery, gratitude, or maybe shared purpose? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, the connections you build today create the life you live tomorrow. Make them intentional, make them meaningful, and above all, make them stoic.